Hello everybody, Jediwarlock here, and welcome back to another video here on the channel. I guess I'll come right out and say it. I was wrong about the Horde. Now, to provide some context for this statement, in over 10 years of playing WoW Classic, I have never fully leveled a character on the Horde faction. Sure, I've dabbled from time to time, wandering around on a new character in Tirisfal Glades or Durotar, but I'd always end up deleting these characters and returning to my regular old human guy on Alliance. I have never leveled a character on Horde until now. As some of you know, I've spent the first half of my summer leveling my Blood Elf Priest, Malia, all the way through both the Classic and Burning Crusade content. I created this character last summer as part of my WoW Alone series, but I ended up liking Shadow Priest a lot, and decided to dedicate virtually all of my game time to finishing WoW Classic as well as TBC on this character, which also marked the first time I went through all of the Horde-only content in the game. Also, I made sure to get both the Exploration and Loremaster achievements for both Kalimdor and Eastern Kingdoms on this character as an added level of completionism and as a means to gauge the quality of the content. So, what exactly was I wrong about, and what made me change my mind? Let's go ahead and take a look as we journey through the world of Warcraft. I'm not sure if this thought process was shared among very many other WoW players, but when I was younger, I thought the Alliance were always the good guys, and the Horde were always the bad guys. I won't lie, I fell for the Alliance propaganda, and as a kid I was hooked on the idea of becoming a knight or wizard and defeating the evil forces invading the peaceful lands of Azeroth. I also feel like I could relate more on a surface level to the Alliance, since at the time I was getting interested in similar worlds like Lord of the Rings and the tower defense game Kingdom Rush, both of which revolved around good versus evil conflicts in which elf and human heroes, controlled by the player, clashed with orcs and trolls. For me, the Alliance seemed like a natural extension of these other good guys, and where the real honor and glory could be found within the game. The Horde, those were just the bad guys, doing edgy bad guy things, and I didn't really feel like pursuing that faction, which I guess goes to show what I was like as a kid. Anyway, this was my attitude playing WoW for several years. I was an Alliance Andie, content with leveling my human character whenever I had the opportunity. This began to change over time though, and the change came mainly from two different sources. One fairly expected, and another that will probably be a bit more controversial. As I got older, I began to develop a deeper appreciation for the world Blizzard had created within WoW. Instead of just going around and questing, leveling, and getting cool new items, I began to look at the vibrant landscapes in greater detail, read the quest text more, and think deeper about how the world of Azeroth actually worked. I began collecting the old Brady Games WoW strategy guides, which could be utilized as a source of in-game lore in addition to looking up basic information about the game. Now more than ever before, I was hooked, and for the first time the concept of playing a Horde character actually gained some traction within my mind. However, my playtime was very limited, and I didn't yet pull the trigger, or I guess in WoW terms, pull the ripcord, on leveling a Horde character simply because my Alliance character was the greater priority. Flash forward to 2020, and all of a sudden people are spending a lot of time indoors. After reading a ton of pre-World of Warcraft lore and becoming something of an expert myself, I finally decided to go back and experience one of the keystone games of the franchise, Warcraft 3 Refunded. I mean Reforged. Contrary to what a lot of people were saying online, I personally had a great single-player experience with the game, and being able to experience the game for the first time was pretty awesome. though I do agree that the business practices and the whole situation at Blizzard during that time, as well as more recently, is certainly less than ideal. I was surprised with how much of the story was centered around the new Horde and their struggles to find a home after their world of Draenor was torn apart by the bloodthirsty First Horde. After many hours of progressing through the campaign for both Reign of Chaos and the Frozen Throne, which is, by the way, one of the greatest endings to a game ever made, I emerged from my cave enlightened. For years, I thought the Horde were the enemy. I thought they didn't really have potential besides antagonizing the real characters of the WoW story. I thought the only reason the Horde was playable was to, heck, come to Northshire and one-shot my mage before disappearing like a mirage. Well,
I've never been so wrong in all my life.
Playing the Horde campaign in Warcraft 3 was a great experience, as was the rest of the game, but that campaign was the thing that finally motivated me to start playing Horde in World of Warcraft, and I was shocked and impressed with what I discovered on the other side of the battle lines. Honor, family, tradition, loss. These are all things that I have found during my venture within the Horde. The Blood Elf and Forsaken starting zones epitomize the feelings of grief, loss, and recovery in the years following the infamous Scourge invasion of Warcraft 3. Being a part of these stories and forging your own story in the process is made so much more meaningful from the fact that you're not just a fresh recruit from Northshire, or a young night elf lingering on in the Age of Mortals. You're a survivor of wars, a member of a nation brought low, now just beginning to undo the horrors of the past. The Forsaken quests were especially heartbreaking to me when you consider how many of these quests deal with graves and burials, and it makes you wonder how many of these cursed undead wish to be living at all. Across the Great Sea, in the land of Kalimdor, the Orcs hold fast to their shamanistic ways as they carve out a new home in the rocks of Durotar. Having just escaped the corruption of demons, as a people, the Orcs are under attack from encroaching sailors, beasts, and the elements in this new world far from their shattered home of Draenor. Their new allies, the Darkspear Trolls, also just narrowly avoided enslavement and death by other troll tribes and the creatures of the deep, and now seek to start a new life on the nearby Echo Isles. Lastly, the noble Tauren, having driven off the marauding centaur from their lands, have also begun to rebuild, but also face a broader struggle in terms of repairing the land from demonic and scourge corruption that spans not just Mulgore, but all of Azeroth itself. It were these three intersecting groups, the Orcs, Trolls, and Tauren, that really drove home the themes of honor and tradition within the Horde. So many quests, and their larger goals, have to do with honoring the spirits, remembering fallen comrades, or helping members of the Horde solidify their presence as not outsiders or invaders, but rightful claimants of the majestic lands of Kalimdor. One day, I just stumbled across a lone shaman in a cave in Thousand Needles, who sent me on a massive journey across the world in search of finding spiritual strength. Another, a hunter at Thunderbluff, hired me to eliminate a number of honorable beasts that would earn me great respect with the Earth Mother, the goddess of all Tauren. My favorite example of these familial and cultural themes within the Horde was in the Burning Crusade area Nagrand, where completion of a very long and very distance-intensive quest chain helps you bring Thrall, Orc Warchief of the Horde, to the remnants of his people's birth planet of Draenor. Here, he meets the Maghar, the few orcs who survived on Draenor, including his grandmother and a young Garrosh, who goes on to play quite an influential role in Wrath of the Lich King and beyond. This climax, along with that of an earlier chain where you and the Horde expedition discover the Mag'har for the first time, were definitely emotional high points for me, and they were really great to experience. These are just a few examples, but I hope they convey the significance of what the Horde represents and the journeys its people have completed to get to where they are in Classic WoW and in the Burning Crusade. I was wrong about the Horde. For someone like me who loves just to explore and quest in WoW, it was truly a gift from my younger self to be able to complete almost 50% of the game content in the game for the first time this year. The Horde's culture is truly immersive and is rich in the way it tells the stories of people, places, and traditions. And I'm really glad I took the time to get the Lore Master and Explorer achievements in Classic WoW, not to mention even trying Horde in the first place. I'm super hyped to continue my leveling on my Priest and complete the Wrath of the Lich King content, which will finish off all the content that, in my opinion, counts as Classic WoW. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed today's topic, make sure to like the video, comment down below with your thoughts, and subscribe to join the Jedi Order. Until next time, peace.